Misfits are 5-0 over Dignitas in this tournament so far, but we are in the lower bracket where they're up 2-0. And Dignitas, I mean, they look good, but they need to find a way to turn this around.
Yeah, they needed a way to not throw like this. That was a big tilt. I'm still a little bit tilted by that. That was unfortunate for them. It was their best chance to make the 1-1 happen. And right now, they really just need the mental strength to simply say, let's go for game number 3. And to be quite honest, that is going to be incredibly hard the way the last game was going.
I think at this point, Dignitas is thinking about going to their favorite map, Infernal Shrines, give away first pick.
Oh, it's actually a Misfits pick.
Oh, so they give the map choice to Misfits, and it's Misfits who picks Infernal Shrines.
J-Hal, if we look at the series we saw yesterday between these two teams on Infernal Shrines, it was a very good game for Dignitas. Till the very end, where Xaylia did get picked when they were looking to try to close things out, the game was theirs.
It's kind of been the theme. You know, when they go up against the tougher competition, they find ways to lose instead of finding ways to win. And they have the ability to pull out those wins. And right now is going to be their last chance. If they lose this game, they're out. And right now, 2-0 Misfits, I think, seems to be in complete control of the series just off drafting alone.
Yeah, when you look at Dignitas, I mean, you could see they were strategizing. They don't look like they're tilted. I looked at them on the stage. They seem like they're cool, calm, collected, which is fantastic to see. But I mean, everything is on the line here. I mean, Grubby, when you're backed against a wall, what do you do here in this tournament?
Usually, competitors will go back to their comfort zone, but Dignitas was already in their comfort zone in the last game with the hero pick. So maybe they should go to the uncomfortable zone, which is to pick in ways that maybe they normally wouldn't. I don't know. It's time for desperate measures. Tassadar ban has been a consistent theme for Dignitas. They only have broken from that twice out of more than 10 games, so no surprises there.
It also makes sure that that Darkmonk is not simply going to jump on one of his melee assassins here on the map. I mean, we saw them in the first series that they played against Misfits even ban out the Illidan for a very good reason, because Darkmonk has shown inconsistently here. But right now, the Tassadar ban already weakens that position a little bit. First pick on the Malfurion, that's definitely the comfort zone pick for them. Yeah, and on the side of the Misfits, they're jumping into Greymane Medivh right off the bat.
I think that's a good choice. Misfits, for all that they are up 2-0, I feel like they have shown some serious weakness in their ranged assassin play with Darkmonk. He has moved to heroes like Bala and Tychus, and I just don't think it's all there. However, on Greymane, I think he's amazing. And with Medivh here, they have a counter against the potential Kerrigan pick, and they also have the empowerment that Greymane so benefits from. So I think this is a great way to start the draft for Misfits.
It's also two heroes that they played the last time when they were facing off on the battleground, and two heroes that gave Dignitas in a lot of trouble. So them picking them this early is going to limit the options of Dignitas a bit going into this, because I feel a lot of the other heroes that Misfits used back then can be substituted by others.
I think Ragnar's probably an option here for Dignitas, although they are going to opt for Dahaka over something like a Ragnaros, and they go into Gul'dan, which does really well on this map. It gives Mene his hero. Dahaka will likely be played by Xaylia, which is a very safe, but that calls for a lot of shrine clear right there between those two heroes alone. We talked about Tyrael for Misfits. Dignitas, they'll be banning here in a moment. I almost feel like that should be the priority in terms of ban, because looking at draft history, the last 5 games and probably beyond that, it's been a lot of Tyrael and a lot of Greymane on the side of Misfits.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So that's a good one for Dignitas. Misfits, they have to think about JPL's hero as well. And so if they expect a Tyrael removal, which is something that they want, they would remove Muradin or ETC. And so that's a pretty clever pick as well.
Again, looking back at the winner's semi-match between these two teams on this battleground, they ran ETC and Kerrigan. So Dahaka, ETC, definitely volatile. Misfits hovering that ETC ban to try to remove it from the option.
Now there's one ray of hope here for Dignitas. They have Malfurion. In the last 6 consecutive games prior to this very map, Malfurion has won all games, whichever side he was on. So if that trend continues, it will be 7-0 in 7 games for Malf. ETC has been removed. We're expecting the Tyrael ban here. If it is not Tyrael, it could be something related to support. Rhaegar, also pretty strong with Medivh together.
Yeah, but I would be a bit shocked if it's not the Tyrael. I mean, it has been a constant theme for Misfits, and together with the Greymane, together with Medivh here on this battleground, if you don't ban out the Tyrael, then you're just asking for trouble.
Is anybody surprised, looking at this, it's almost like a disappearing thing. we saw so much Tracer play and so much of a threat that it warranted early bans with or without the Tassadar before. Xaylia has been pulled off that, it feels like.
He's been doing pretty well with Tracer. It's just that usually on Infernal, even with consistent Tracer bans, on Infernal it doesn't really happen because she doesn't offer as much for the wave clear. So this is the one map where teams dare to ignore her.
Yeah. We have a Rega ban over the Tyrael ban, so I think Tyrael is more or less a given. And now it's just a question of which support are they going to head into. And when we're talking about the supports here for them, I mean, Splendor is well versed on a lot of them. He's also one of the few that has shown a bit of right-wing play here. But I'm a little bit curious to see what exactly Dignitas in particular is going to pick to round the lineup. But first of all, we have the picks for Misfits here.
I feel like it's probably going to be a Kharazim. You know, we've seen a lot of play. Oh, excuse me. We're going to see Lucio again here.
Look at this. They're really shutting out JPL from a lot of heroes, which he would normally like to take in this composition. Oh, wow. Okay, this is the final gambit here for Dignitas. They are actually going to bring out Tracer on Infernal Shrines.
It's actually, it's kind of like a weird situation for Tracer, is that she's bad in wave clear, but she's always going to have targets one way or another to ramp up that pulse bomb. There's always going to be something nearby, give her areas to stay on. To get that puts Snitch onto Haka and Xaylia, the absolute playmaker on Tracer.
Yes.
There's a lot on his shoulders.
But are you getting any pulse bomb kills here?
No, with Medivh, no. If
yeah.
Hasobs keeps playing as he has been, no.
I mean,
also, Varian is still up. We could have this insane anti-Tracer comp.
Yeah, like I'm really worried for them.
I think it's Tychus or Varian. It kind of depends if they want to just kind of sit back and just block pulse bombs, or if they want to take the fight to Dignitas.
I really wonder, without the hard CC, if they might opt to go something like Kerrigan. Nurok and Darkmok tend to flex a little bit. They have that option there. They have good escape with the Medivh portals. You can play a little bit safer. It's something that they've done in the past. They opt to just... That's a heavy front line there with Diablo.
That's a heavy Kerrigan.
I was expecting the Varian, especially with the Greymane Medivh. That seems to be like a good choice for them. On the other hand, when you have Diablo and Meridian, they can of course go for the lockdown. Diablo gaining the extra value on the map here makes a huge argument in his favor, of course.
I guess he's kind of like Varian on this map, because you can even push Tracer against the wall quite easily here.
You have the wave clear for him as well, so I feel like when it comes to the shrine control alone,
better pick here.
They have a big advantage, yeah, and I think that they just felt if we go Meridian and Varian, then our two tanks are basically only going for the lockdown against heroes and we need to take the kills. Like this, they're a little bit more flexible in the way they play it. But I love the lineup. I really think it's well thought out, it's well rounded. And Dignitas, I mean, Xaylia has to play a hell of a game on that Tracer in a very difficult circumstance to make that happen for them.
Mena on Gul'dan had some amazing Horrifies against Team 8. He is the major form of crowd control here for Team Dignitas. If he can land some super great Horrifies, there's a chance for Dignitas.
Yeah, true.
I mean, looking at the late game in general here, it's super powerful. And with Misfits, the double Warrior Mirror Diablo, then the Lucio healing, going to be monstrous. How important is the early game here on the side of Dignitas?
I think everything's important. I don't think you can overlook. I mean, they've got Gul'dan, who will have significant amount of wave clear. What do you get out of Tracer is the big thing. I mean, right now all eyes are on Xaylia. We'll see what we can get out of Tracer going into this game.
Okay, Misfits are up 2-0 in this loser final match. Can Dignitas turn it around? Trick and Gilly take it away.
For me, this game is Hasua's Medivh Leyline Seals versus Tracer from Xaylia. This is going to be a good one here in game number 3 of this best-of-5 series. To the left, Gillyweed, who do we have?
We have the members of Misfits up 2-0 in this best-of-5. Win this final game, this final hurdle over Team Dignitas, and they will claim a spot in the grand finals and a rematch versus Fnatic.
And to the right, Dignitas hungry for their first win against the Misfits, but also hungry to stay in this tournament here in the Western Clash. Can they earn a victory? They pulled out all the stops here. Gul'dan, we saw him have incredible Horrifies against Team 8, and now with the aid of Tracer possibly being here, this could be something that they can pull off. So in the middle, an aggressive play here from Snitch and Mane as they are looking for a potential drag. Getting Lucio would be great, but very hard to do.
Great points you made, watching out for Xaylia, how he is able to handle his Tracer. We have had a lot of questions throughout HGC, but his Tracer has been phenomenal, and Blumby finds one person Snitch is in trouble, gets on back though, and it's Diablo who will fall. Xaylia helping to get the kill, the first blood for Dignitas.
Dignitas coming out, firing away. Dahaka not even brush striping up to the top there, just sneaking up there. Tracer's on the left side too to watch any rotations that could occur, but Hasuabs will sniff that out. In fact, when you have Medivh, I wouldn't mind just having him constantly follow around that Tracer. Make sure she doesn't jump on any teammate. Your teammate can play safe, don't have to worry about those couple of blinks into a pulse bomb.
Both teams starting the rotation from mid-bot. Team Dignitas trying to control that as much as they can. They have Bakery. He didn't get Moonburn this time though, trying to get Scouting Drone, so wanting to watch out for the rotations aggressive from Team Misfits too. But Gul'dan's going to be the big boon in their ability to control this mid-bot rotation in the early game.
Yeah, Gul'dan's actually going to be a very important period for Dignitas. First off, the rotation between middle and bottom. He's the wave clearer in this game, really. If you look at Misfits, they're kind of missing out, except for Gramian in terms of actually being able to clear a wave effectively. And then also, Gul'dan is fantastic for clearing the shrine. Now, of course, Misfits does have the control around the shrines. The Diablo, of course, Gramian can jump on a target, and then Murden can jump over walls and hit those storm bolts. So we're going to have to watch out for those possible kills in the early game here for the Misfits. But Dignitas, if they're able to set up well with their Tracer and their Gul'dan, they can clear shrines very effectively.
Misfits, though, aren't totally crazy in the wave clear department either, though, or even the shrine clear, but they do have Greymane. So on either side, these very pivotal heroes coming into play for both sides.
All right, JPL on the left side set up. Xaylia heads to the top to dance around and just be a threat, making sure to spread out. You never want to sit in one area because of the strength of Diablo. Also, you want to be in a situation where if Diablo goes in for the Shadow Charge, you're not pinned against the wall, especially Tracer in particular. Medivh goes in with the portal. Root comes out instantly there from Bakery, making sure that there's no major play happening for the Misfits.
It was early on in the Heroes Global Championship North America that we got to see this Medivh Diablo pairing, which is quite terrifying, to be honest. Once you have a portal down, you have to be watching to see if Diablo steps through, because he can quickly shadow charge you into a stun, and then all of a sudden the rest of the team is there. As we see, there goes the stun into the wall on JPL. Mana, JPL getting really low on mana though.
Force of Will a tad bit late there. May have been on cooldown. Splinter actually getting hit with the damage, but he should be able to stock up his teammates. And Misfits actually take away the shrine. I want to commend the Warriors in particular, Muradin and Diablo. Anytime Dignitas would start pelting away on a minion shrine, they would walk forward to get the aggro to come their way, and then bring it towards Greymane, so Greymane can cleave up, getting 5 to 6 at a time there. So nice job by the Misfits. And they're going to bring the portal to allow for the vision to show up, so the Punisher can jump in over the wall and maybe catch someone off guard.
Yeah, before someone can get set up to bait in a way that you can still get away from it and not be vulnerable to your opponents. Ideally, as we saw in that bait, it will be JPL on Tyrael, because he can throw his Elder and Might down and jump to it just as the jump happens from the Punisher.
We're having the Gilnane cocktail. That seems to be a staple now for Greymane players. So good for clearing out the minion shrine, but also for following up on Punishers. If a Punisher jumps over and you slam one against the wall, that splash damage is quite impactful for burning down that front line. Impalers now being grabbed for both teams, one to the left. Dignitas elects to go ahead and move down to the bottom Impalers, though, as Tracer is forced to walk away with Medivh scouting that out.
Level 7 almost available for both teams. JPL's going to jump on top. Narok dives away to get away. It dodges the corruption, and then portal follow-up. Hasuabs gets Narok out of that dangerous situation from the 3-man gank.
Snitch grabs a drag on Darkmok. Should be able to get away just fine, but still a solid trade there for our Dahaka player. Now, finally, the Impaler is being grabbed in the middle, and this will be a rotation back and forth. The main thing that will become a point of contention are the top left and the top right mercenary camps, just because if there is a shrine phase in the bottom, having those mercenary camps in the top can be great for either team. So watch out for that. Dahaka, though, is going to be a good tool for clearing out Misfits mercenaries. If Dignitas can delay and wait for a solid amount of time, they can get that pressure on the top and take advantage of it, because Misfits has no globals.
The last time that we saw Medivh paired with Lucio, he took Subwoofer at level 4 for the increased knockback. So once he went through the portal, he had the greater knockback. But now we're seeing him take off the wall instead. So having the cooldown reduced by 3 seconds of your Sunwave as long as you are using that wall ride. Do you think it's a product of the Battleground, the fact that we have more walls around here on Infernal Shrines?
Yeah, you have, what, like 6 walls near every single shrine phase, so you should be able to get those boosts pretty easily. Make sure you're set up for it. Like, look at here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 at least easy spots to jump onto. And then if you chase, you can also get those boosts too, because you don't get body blocks when you're actually wall riding, so you can get aggressive, boost someone to your team. Snitch is getting picked in the top right. Does he live? No, he gets picked off, but he did take some damage on his opponent before going down, which has allowed Dignitas to continue clearing here on the bottom. So Misfits playing aggressively are going to push this top wall to grab experience.
Azalea wanted to do what he could. It was a nice pulse bomb even on Splendor to try to stall out this damage and aggressive push from the members of Misfits, while Team Dignitas nearly gets the Punisher in the bottom lane, but still Misfits were already in position there, hesitant to give up the siege here in the top lane. And with Splendor slowly healing up all the members that were with him, they'll take out nearly the well. There, the well goes down.
Odd to see it's only 1-1 in kills with how feisty these two teams have been in the early game. Hopefully to have that kill potential ramp up as we go to the mid to late game. Sadly, with Medivh being here, those Force of Wills are going to be very impactful for Misfit to prevent those kills from happening. Good news for Dignitas though. They grab the Punisher and get pushed down in the bottom lane. Dahaka continues to hold up in the top. And he didn't brush truck up there. He actually walked all the way over. So he can come down and help out in the fight if aid is needed.
Seems like we would see an Apocalypse to follow up from Leyline Seal, but instead, Blumby going for Lightning Breath. There's your Lightning Breath trick.
Lightning Breath, very easy to pull off. You're unstoppable. You have the Force of Will to keep him alive at the same time. Also just great for damage to stop anyone from going for the hard engage. See him just using it as a bit of a warning there. He burns down a few of the members. Leyline Seal comes up from Hostile Ops, waiting for the kill. Here goes the big Horrify though from Mayne, and he hits multiple targets. That seems to be a theme of the tournament. Blumby taking damage on the left. Zelia just pelting away with those double guns.
Darkbot gets hit by the Punisher jump. He is in avatar form still. Dwarf tosses away just in the nick of time. Safety portal even to allow Misfits to fully escape. Still the Punisher though rages on. Did take down the fort. First fort of the game, in fact, claimed by Team Dignitas.
But still, pretty insane composition here for the Misfits. They are hit level 10, and they were basically in a 6v5. They had a Punisher, and then they have, of course, had the other 5 members for Dignitas shelling away on them, and they almost had a kill. Had it not been for Mayne and his solid Horrify, we could have had a few members, JPL in particular, picked off by the Misfits. So Dignitas going to have their work cut out for them, obviously, here.
Yeah, especially as the Greymane build ramps up. We'll see what they want to go for. We've seen Unfettered Assault and Execution would be the go-to for Fnatic, but we'll see how, if Misfits makes any adjustments off of that. But also, you think we're going to give him the axe once again?
Oh, from Erden, there is a strong possibility. It'd be great there for locking down Gul'dan in particular. Just bring out the damage, especially with the Skullcracker. Yeah, could be a great pickup at level 16. Blumby is going to be dancing around in the middle here. Dahaka and Greymane facing off in the top lane. Gul'dan sneakily grabbing his own mercenary camps in the bottom. You can clear those up pretty quickly. It's usually kind of odd to say a mage is grabbing mercenaries, but Gul'dan's one of those that can do it on his own.
Gul'dan is very self-sustaining thanks to his Drain Life and Life Tap as well. Even Consume Soul, which he got at level 4 to help him out with that. Level 13, almost here.
13, almost here for our teams. Another Shrine as well. Only 1 fort down. Both these teams to be evenly matched in terms of map control. And in kills, 1-1. Again, so much aggression back and forth, but Dignitas seems to be turning it up slightly here. Now, as you mentioned, it gets much easier for Misfits to secure kills with Greymane ramping up at that 13 and 16. Leyline Seals will have to be important. I'm going to be watching Hasuops. He needs to make sure he lands on that back line, particularly Mayne or Bakery. Zelia coming in for aggression, but the immediate portal from Hasuops will force him to retreat. Now we have a Shrine activating to the very top.
Oh, nice Stormbolt. Cleanse to get Snitch out too. We have a lot of questing talents too that will help either side once those are finished. Echo Corruption's almost done. Master's Touch is about halfway too, and Incendiary Elixir is all but done. So those are really important ones that will amplify damage, especially. Pulse Bomb's there, but completely negated from Force of Will.
Yeah, that was the threat that was being talked about earlier by the analysis, but big Horrify. Blumby walks in, he turns around, he drops the Lightning Breath. Leyline Seal hitting 4 members in the top right. Sanctification being popped at the same time. Tracer locked down on the bottom. Zelia, though, still dancing around. Portal. Blumby gets tongued, though. Here comes the sound barrier, and Misfits are looking to turn around. Snitch low on health, so is JPL. Twilight Dream, though, back and forth. Tug of war between our teams, and nobody's died.
That was perfect play from either side. Like, those plays were insane. Horrify, very, very good. Saving heroic abilities. Sound barrier when it was needed most. The Leyline Seal, though, overlapping with the Lightning Breath. That was the only thing a little bit. They tried to get the kill on Zelia, who the only one not caught out of the Leyline Seal, but but it wasn't to be done. But Misfits held out to getting 13. They're caught up in talent tiers with Team Dignitas, and they've started working on getting some skeletal defenders of their own.
Our team's dancing back and forth. Greyman's go for the throw is available, so if Tracer does overstep, there can be a kill here from Greyman. Narok moves on in, gets a cleave, but immediately Zayla will blink away. Same time, Mana working in damage with the corruption from the side. Those Impalers are still in the bottom lane doing damage. They're taking some time here to get anything done, but they're doing a little bit more than Dignitas in these team fights just because of how evenly matched they are.
Bakery, every time one of these portals goes down, has the entangling roots to counter, making sure that whoever comes through, Dignitas can either put damage down or run away, buying the time they needed.
It's getting to a point where there's actually mana bars being depleted here before there are health bars going away, which gets Tracer to actually ramp up a little bit in viability because she doesn't have to worry about those mana issues. She can just keep working on auto attacks, and suddenly Greymane can't move into an aggressive dark play and bring in a cleave into a go for the throat because he can't expend the mana.
Yeah, and Bakery can give mana to his team. It's a distinct advantage there for Team Dignitas, with Misfits still doing what they can, tapping where needed. They want to dive back in again, but the skeletal defender count has been very, very even so far. Both teams doing everything they can. Horrify's there.
Force of Will
negates.
It's a portal. Nurok, can he get the heal here? Yes, Splendor will save him here. Sound Barrier is available. Will he drop it? He does break it down. And they're hoping to turn around for a fight. Darkmok working in some auto attacks. And we've had this fight effectively happening for 3 minutes now. And no one has died, Gillyweed.
It's not even that anyone really has an advantage over the Shrine either, but we're getting closer and closer. Both teams running out of time to claim this Frozen Punisher. Zayla diving back in. Sanctification was there. Force of Will 2 on Nurok. He didn't go back.
Solid play by Nurok, staying alive, especially the help there from Hostawabs and Splinter bringing out the heals back and forth. Finally, someone is awarded a Punisher. Dignitas edges it out there in the last few seconds and now can start to push down the top lane. And remember those Impalers we talked about a few minutes ago? They're still on the bottom lane, finally killing off a wall and start to move on to a turret. So finally, those mercenaries are getting some stuff done.
Several minutes ago, in fact, because that was a drawn-out engagement between the teams. But this is so good for Team Dignitas. They need this kind of advantage in this map. They are fighting for their tournament lives at this point. They have the Frozen Punisher. They're taking out the towers here. Here comes the leap as well. Darkmok barely makes it through. Force of Will once again will be there to save away from Pulse Bomb.
Hostawabs there with the save. So many times Dignitas has been close to securing that kill, but Medivh really just paying his weight in gold here, keeping his teammates alive. Now, 16 has hit for Dignitas. Holy Ground is available. Same time, Gul'dan has spiked in damage, so that should be helpful here. A keep should be the main target. Zelia working in those attacks from Tracer.
Keep all but down. Root catches a couple of members of Misfits. All questing talents done except for Devastating Charge at 13. But still, having Master's Touch done is such a relief for Medivh. That's the really big one. Gul'dan obviously very happy to have Echoed Corruption done as he has Ruinous Affliction. But Master's Touch allows Hasu to make all sorts of more aggressive plays.
Yep, damage ramps up slightly also with Greymane and his level 7 talent being finished up at the same time. Little more poke damage, and if you get a little bit more poke damage, suddenly you might hit 1 or 2 that could get enough to hit Tracer. If Tracer gets hit there with that Gil'dan cocktail that is now Incendiary Elixir, suddenly Tracer might be down to around half health, and you can actually go in for a hard engage. So Misfits now having a little bit more power after finishing those quests. What big deal for Dignitas. They finally pushed down the top lane. They got to keep, so they now have the pressure. They're in a spot similar to what we saw in Cursed Hollow. They've got map pressure on the battleground. All that comes down to is don't do a wonky all-in play. Continue the safe, methodical play that both teams have been running, and Dignitas can continue to maybe slowly choke out their opponents.
And Dignitas are absolutely a team who can learn from mistakes and adapt very, very quickly, even within a game, but definitely within a series like that. The damage comes out, breaking down the wall of Misfits in the mid lane. Team Dignitas absolutely trying to take out the final fort of Misfits so that they can open this battleground up even sooner and continue their experience advantage.
Gets a panic, gives Tracer. Cleanse comes out from Bakery. Greymane's coming in from the top lane, looking for some aggression. There goes a big Gil'dan cocktail to apply damage to JPL, but they have to clear this minion wave in front of them. Blumby goes for the engage, but not getting the pick he wants. They have to deal with the minions first, so Misfits allow Dignitas to walk away.
I like that immediate portal, like, oh, he's going for the dive, and we'll just make sure he has this just in case it is needed.
Also, I was there to help out his teammates whenever possible, making him such a great Medivh. Now, the Shrine is activated in the bottom. I would argue argue this is a much better position for Dignitas in particular, with that pressure being in the top lane. They can leave their Dahaka in the top lane pushing consistently, and until a breaking point actually happens, they have full control over the Shrine.
Yeah, that's going to be quite the issue for Misfits. To the point that they may have to send someone back, and that gives a spot maybe for Team Dignitas to try to brush shock in and either win a team fight to win the game off of that, or at least get the Punisher here at this moment.
JPL starts the aggression. Blumby charges in, pins him against the wall. The Holy Ground will keep him alive for now. Bakery moving in. We're going to have the Hawk on the back right side. Immediately having to burrow. The Tunnel Claw's helping out. Drag should be available soon. Darkmog working in some auto attacks. Sound Barrier popped at first. All members from Dignitas on the right side. Blumby does another charge. Cleanse is now gone for Bakery.
Misfits desperate to make something happen. A charge on Snitch. He gets pretty low, but heals back up with his adaptation. Misfits have to make something happen. Twilight Dream and Horrify. Diablo is the one who is taken out. Darkmog Dwarf tossing away.
Big moment there from Dignitas. Finally fails to kill. 26-20 though in terms of minions controlled. Healthy backline though. Nurok not really taking much damage. He goes in for the nom. Gets some damage there on Tracer. Zaylee on the back right. Leyline Seal coming out. Can Misfits do any more? No, they're gonna turn around and focus on the Shrine here. They tie it up 29-28, and guess who's about to show up and fight? Diablo!
Diablo is back. Only a few more, 2 more in fact needed for the Skeletal Defenders. They will spawn and be taken out in short order. Misfits have so many structures to go through. All of Dignitas' forts are still up. The nice thing is here in the bottom, there's no wall to bait this Punisher over. So they can work on the fort directly, but someone, it looks like Hasu will go back for the defense.
Yep, it's time for Dignitas to go into passive mode here and soak out that level 20. Just defend that bottom Punisher as well as you can without doing anything too risky. Splinter himself is set around to help out with some of the minions that get cleaned up by that Punisher so they can soak the experience. As Misfits are currently 2 levels down from their opponents, so they will also have to go into passive mode if they can't get engaged now.
With the keep down, Misfits understood that they weren't going to get too much more trying to siege into a Gul'dan, and even Splendor could see why you don't want to do that. Holy Ground and Horrify and Roots get a kill on Diablo. This time he will have a full respawn timer. Misfits were hoping to take as many forts out as they could, not wanting to push in too far versus Team Dignitas, give kills that would get them to this point, but still Dignitas find those kills that they wanted and will get their Storm Talents very soon.
Still a very odd play from Misfits. They showed the Medivh defending back home, and then they played over aggressive. They were on their opponent's fort, which allowed Dignitas to bring their Dahaka ahead and get a 5v4 fight with all the protection that Medivh has been providing the entire time that has kept them alive. Very odd call by the Misfits, and I'm a bit disappointed in it. But now they can sit here and defend the back left. Twilight Dream does come out. Dignitas has hit level 20, and they're looking for potentially a second keep.
Nice to have Twilight Dream burned. Hardened Shield used by JPL. Misfits trying to keep anybody they can from Team Dignitas back. Maybe even trying to get a kill. But finding none, Team Dignitas will run away. Misfits will clean up their core once again. Diablo respawns, and now the game we saw Dignitas play, being passive until 20, we'll see for Misfits.
And for Dignitas, you should not be passive here. Grab as many camps as you want, get the lanes pushing out, get full map control, paint the map red, all these things that you normally should do when you have a lead. Just be careful of the Diablo engage, and you should be fine. And they're doing that. They're grabbing the mercenaries on the bottom right, they're grabbing the one on the bottom, now the top right. I would hold maybe a little bit before grabbing that mercenary camp, unless you see somebody on the field here that could threaten your positioning. But Dignitas is in a slight nice lead here. They would love for the next shrine to activate soon for them, but Misfits should be able to activate 20 before that occurs.
Yeah, there is at least Team Dignitas forcing positioning with the mercenary camps in every single lane. And with the shrine activating in 25 seconds, they might be able to catch somebody trying to defend those multiple mercenary pushes, which is where they were going for Darkmog. But he is a tanky dwarf.
He is very tanky, him and his beard. All right, so 19.5 to 20. Misfits very close, need to soak a couple of lanes here before they can go for the engage. However, they're making a power play in the bottom on Snitch in particular. Adaptation has been popped. Snitch will be able to heal up, go for the throw at the same time, tunneling claws, and Snitch will be able to escape, especially due to the fact that Misfits didn't have an idea of where the rest of Dignitas was.
And where they are is at the shrine, getting a healthy lead in Skeletal Defenders, while Misfits gets the last amount of experience needed to 20 and defends that top lane where the keep has gone down. Hustle-ups checking in on the members of Dignitas, but this is very likely just to be a free Punisher right off the bat.
Yeah, if they wanted to engage, they would have to do it now, which means they would start for the rotation. But obviously, with the Punisher so far ahead here, Dignitas, they get the reward of making sure to get 20 before their opponent. So now the Keep could be in trouble. Dignitas setting up for an aggressive push. Now, they do have good poke with Gul'dan, but Tracer has to get into an odd position to get damage in, so they could have a spot here where they bait down the Punisher down to the bottom left Keep and potentially save it. Let's see how Misfits handles the situation.
There's the bait, Force of Will to help out too. They're pulling the Punisher down, just like you anticipated.
Good pull. JPL with the Holy Ground, though, to section off Dark Mark in the top right, so Tracer can focus him down. Force of Will does come out. Blumby floating around the same time. Punisher jumps on top of him. Keep is going to be focused away. 2 Keeps down now for the Misfits. Dignitas looking for some more aggression. Remember, Sanctification is up. They can put some damage on the core. Lightning Breath is out.
Lightning Breath and Horrify at the same time. Lightning Breath was a lot, but Sanctification has to be used. Charge hits Mene in the back. Still, this Punisher is pretty healthy, a halfway point. Leyline Seal is huge on the members of Dignitas.
Twilight Dream was actually canceled there. Misfits continue to apply pressure, but the core is falling 40%. Health bars are low, and Neurok's trying to hold down, but Dignitas secures their first victory in the last 8 games here against the Misfits. Congratulations them, but most of all, they stay alive in the tournament. They bring the series to a 2-1.
Very well done by Team Dignitas on a battleground where they feel so comfortable. Infernal Shrines, they had lots of control throughout the game. And it was a tough spot for Misfits, especially once they lost their Keep.
Yeah, the biggest blunder I think for the Misfits was, and we'll have to listen to our expert analysis about it, but putting Medivh in the top left and then overextending in the middle of the map seemed to really give a huge momentum to Dignitas, and it never seemed like Misfits ever got to a point where they could recollect themselves and get themselves on a spot to actually handle Dignitas' pressure.
Yeah, it did feel like the, like you said, pressure even mentally at that point was hitting Misfits, that they felt like they had to get as much done with that advantage, that small advantage that they had. But we'll have to see what the experts think for that game.
Oh, baby, Dignitas putting a point on the board. Trick and Gilly, we are back in there, but boys, we have a great series on our hands now. When you can throw the momentum back in your favor after a loss like we saw with the throw, I mean, that's what makes the best of fives in the world. Let's talk a bit about Xaylia first on the Tracer, something we were a little bit critical and worried about on Infernal Shrines.
I'm not critical about Xaylia on Tracer. I'm critical about Xaylia on other heroes. 1-4 on Zeratul, undefeated on Tracer.
But we were a bit worried that whether or not it would work out on Shrines. Grubby, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I was worried about it. It's kind of like when people used to try out Illidan, like Misfits, when they used to play Illidan on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Doesn't work there initially, but just because you're so good on him, you're so comfortable with him, you do it anyway. And it really paid off here. Dignitas, they took a chance and it worked out, didn't it, Calder?
When we were heading into the game, I was actually looking at the draft and I said, like, Misfits has this. And
yes.
Dignitas played out of their mind. I mean, that was insane. Even with Misfits really showing up, that fight, how he dodged, for example, the Horrify with the Lightning Breath. Shortly after that, Malfurion tries to get the Twilight Dream through. Diablo is there again. That was absolutely insane. It still didn't matter. Dignitas lost a single hero in this entire game. That's unbelievable. They played out of their mind. That was perfect. The Horrifies that we saw from Mene throughout the entire game were fantastic.
Yes, I agree. It was incredible. And they weren't going to have another chance. They busted everything out right at the right time.
I mean, I gotta give Bakery a lot of credit. Played on his toes, really countered the Medivh really well, I thought, denying that portal play in so many fights. My favorite part was that insanely long fight we saw in the top phase. What do you think the biggest mistake or outplay from Dignitas was in that fight? Because that's really where it seemed to swing in their favor. They gotta keep.
I have to say that I feel like throughout there were just like small mistakes that you had. I mean, like we had one pretty obvious at some point where you see the Leyline Seal going through in Lightning Breath. But besides that, it was just that Dignitas just simply played better. They played, I mean, this was one of the best games that I've ever seen them play.
Well, Dignitas, they are back in there with a point on the board. Can they close it out? Will Misfits redeem themselves in game number 4? Head to Twitter, use the hashtag HGC, and let us know, and we'll be right back.
not destroy the Nexus.
Destroy it. Pitiful fool. This realm holds more power than I've ever dreamed of. And it will be mine. For I know the truth. In the end, everything will burn.
I'm just gonna drive us straight.
Another round? Oh.